Thank you, Juan. Aloha, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Cedric Duarte. I'm with the Information and Community Relations Office, the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. We do have several staff joining us here today. We have Andrew Choi from our Planning Office. From his staff, we also have on the line Malia Cox, as well as Gigi Kyrell, who many of you know. From the Homestead Services Division, Juan Garcia here. The Neighbor Island Administrator, Mona Kapaku, is on the line. And we have Cindy,
Aloha.
who I'm sure many of you know from our Molokai District Office. And then from my staff, I also have, I'm not sure if Jamelia is on, but I do have some of my staff joining us here today. I'm going to put into the chat a website where we do have the presentation materials and sort of some of the updates that we'll be going through today in case anybody wants to look at it. And on this link, we're also going to include the recording of this video. So if you want to go back later and view it, if you miss anything that was said, either in the question and answer time frame, it'll be there on the website. And there'll be some contact information should you need to reach any of us with any follow-up questions. So if it's okay with everybody, I'm going to go ahead and oh, wait, I almost forgot the most important guys. Over in our Hale Kalani Ana Ole office in Kapolei, we have Stuart Masunaga, who some of you know, and actually, my understanding, he spent quite a bit of time on Molokai back in the day, as well as one of our engineers, Mitchell Kawamura, next to him, who's actually leading the effort on the environmental compliance, and he'll be taking us through the procurement and the construction process of the subdivision. We thank you all for your patience. I know it's been a long time. So we're going to get right into this presentation. It's just a few slides just to kind of get us all up to speed on where we're at, and that we budgeted quite a bit of time for some Q&A so that we can address any of the community's concerns or questions as we're going through this. So thank you for your time. Let me see if I can get to share. Yes.
I wanted to also introduce the RM Powell engineer and planner, who's also on the line, Gordon Ring, again with RM Powell, and Brian Takeda, who is leading the charge on the environmental assessment. So they are also online, and we really encourage them to be listening in so that they can hear all of the concerns, because they're the ones that are going to put the pen to paper to get the designs done so that we can get into construction. So mahalo.
Thank you, Stuart, and thank you, the team from RM Powell. Sorry I missed you guys. I'm so anxious to get into the presentation. I forgot to get to everybody, so thank you all. Let me see if I can get the share screen up, and we'll get right into this. Okay. Let me know if you guys can see that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Nā'iwa agricultural lots. Okay. The purpose of tonight's meeting, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to provide you some current information on DHHL's development of the Nā'iwa agricultural lots. As I mentioned earlier, we did bake in quite a bit of time to answer beneficiary questions and collect any beneficiary feedback as we go through this process. Our agenda for the evening, we did the welcomes and introductions. We're doing that now. Then we have a brief presentation. I don't think it's going to take 20 minutes. It'll be shorter than that. And then we have quite a bit of time for Q&A. And then we'll talk a little bit about next steps and wrap up. And this is meant to be an open conversation. So we are hoping to get as much information to you and respond to any inquiries or questions as you may have. Just a few notes on meeting Kuleana. For those of you who have participated in our planning office's beneficiary consultation meetings, this is more of a beneficiary information meeting, but I did want to adopt some of the meeting Kuleana that our planning office has used in the past. You know, we always ask that everyone is respectful of other people's, when other people are speaking. We are going to try to utilize the chat box for those of you who are in front of a computer. Some of you may be dialing in by phone, and I'll be able to call on you as we go through it. We just ask as we go through the time frame if we're all just be respectful and show aloha and treat others the way that we would like to be treated. At times, maybe not on this call, hopefully, but in other meetings, we may agree to disagree and accept that others have different perspectives and opinions. And lastly, we just ask that everybody has an open mind. And we hope that you're able to take home some new ideas and new information related to this project. So we're going to dive right into it. This is the Nā'iwa agricultural lots that we're discussing. And the project description, right now, we are talking about planning and design, and then we'll be talking a little bit later about the construction of the roadways, utilities, the infrastructure improvements for the 58 existing lessees here in Nā'iwa. Just a little bit about project costs. $1.5 million has been appropriated or allocated to us by the appropriated by the legislature for planning, design work, and for us to begin construction. So that's the funding that we have right now. And that got, we're grateful to our representatives and senators from the area who were able to push this funding through. That is basically allowing us to do the work that we're going to be discussing mostly today. Now, right now, Stuart's team and our land development division is estimating approximately $9.5 million for the actual construction work. This is actually when we get in there and we start doing the construction of the roadways and all the utilities and getting all the improvements ready so that we can get your lots ready. Estimated at 9.5 million. That has not been appropriated at the time, meaning the legislature hasn't said, here's the money for you folks. It is in the request right now. It's in our sufficient sums ask. The Department of Hawaiian Homelands for the last few years has been making what the commission and the department feel is the sufficient amount of money that we need to develop homestead lots. So in our sufficient sums asked for this fiscal year and the session that we're in right now, this $9.5 million request is in the legislature's hands. We may get it, we may not get it. There's still time for this money to be set aside. If you have a strong desire to see this money set aside, we can reach out and talk to our representatives and our senators to let them know how important this funding is for DHHL in order to provide the infrastructure needed for your lots. If we don't get that money funded to us in this session, we'll be right back there in January of 2022 asking again for this construction funding. The contractors that we have on the project right now handling our design and our environmental compliance as introduced is RM Tao Corporation. And they'll be, as Stuart said, putting pen to paper to make sure that our environmental compliance and all the things that we need to do to get ready to do the construction are ready. And then when we have a follow-up community meeting in a couple of months or in a few months down the road, we'll be able to talk a little bit about, maybe not this year, but maybe next year, who the construction management and construction team is once we have the funding set aside for us. Okay, just a little bit on the area. This is the work location here in the box in red. And the surrounding areas here in the shaded are other Hawaiian Homelands properties. Liko and I were speaking a little bit before the meeting began, where her lot is kind of nearby the work area. But here is the Nā'iwa subdivision in the rectangle, red rectangle square that we're working off of. And this is a slide that identifies the work location as it relates to the Department of Hawaiian Homelands Ho'olehua water system, as well. That's a potable water system, as well as the Department of Agriculture's MIS system, which many of you are familiar with. We wanted to put this on, include this so that you can kind of see where the lines are and some of the work that needs to be done in order to provide water. And Andrew's going to go into that a little bit deeper down the line. And then we can circle back to this, Andrew, if you do need to, as part of the conversation about water, yeah? Andrew, you want to pick this up from here, or you want me to just go through it?
I can do it if you want.
Yes, please, thank you.
Okay. So the department is in the process of getting our water use permit application. Sometimes we refer to it as a WUPA, but when we say that acronym, it's a water use permit application, where we need approval from the State Department of Land and Natural Resources Commission on Water Resource Management to approve the department requests to be able to pump more water from our well in order to provide more water to future lots. And we also have a number of existing lessees who are requesting another water meter. So once we get approval from the State Commission on Water Resource Management on our water use permit application, we will be able to legally increase our pumping to a level where we will be able to provide water to future homestead lots, including the 58 lots that are planned for Nā'iwa. And we hope to get the Commission on Water Resource Management's approval in this calendar year.
And Andrew, just to confirm, this slide that we're looking at here, this is in relation to DHHL's Ho'olehua water system, the potable water system. Yeah?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
It's related to the drinking water system. It is not related to the Department of Agriculture's irrigation system.
Can I ask a question? So right now, there a few of the lots do have potable water,
Yes.
right?
I believe the system does extend.
So we're
to part
actually
of-
requesting more. Is that it?
Yes, yes, correct.
So some actually the water can come out and some has the lines, but no water can come out.
If you look at that map of the project area, the line does extend to a portion of the project area, but not the entire project area. So part of this effort is to extend the lines to reach all of the lots within the project area.
Okay.
Then we wanted to talk a little bit about the status of the TMKs. So the environmental assessment is what we'll be going through the process of that, and following the completion of the EA is when we can begin to, hold on 1 second. We can issue the TMKs based on the completion of the EA, the completion of the infrastructure, and the final subdivision approval by the County of Maui. So all of those steps need to be completed before we can actually issue the TMKs. And that's when County of Maui will issue the tax map key numbers as well as the physical addresses. Stuart, Mitchell, do you guys have anything that you guys would like to add on this slide?
Just to reiterate that it's a process, so that we need to go through the EA first before the designs are completed. We go through a stage of procurement for contracting. And then after the infrastructure is completed, inspected, accepted by the county, then final subdivision approval is granted. And then upon the granting of the final subdivision approval, the county will issue new tax map key numbers, which is vital for anyone who will be planning to build a home. So typically your lender is going to need a TMK, because a TMK signifies that you have a final subdivision. So just a little bit of information for that.
Thank you, Stuart. So, on this bullet number 2 here, with where it says completion of infrastructure, that includes the completion of what we talked about in the previous slide with the water, the increase in our water use permit, and all of that needs to be taken into account when we say completion of infrastructure?
That is correct. So it's the it's primarily water, electrical system, and all of the grading permits are closed, completion of the roadways. And then we also have a process for licensing of infrastructure. In this case, the water system is owned by DHHL, so it will be part of DHHL asset. The roadways are planned to be built to county standard. I know I'm jumping ahead to some of the the other slides, but this might be appropriate time for that. But roads being built to county standard because we need the county to be able to maintain those roadways.
Thank you, Stuart. So this is kind of what Stuart was talking about earlier, and I think this is one of the big questions that many of you will want to know is, where are we at? How long is this going to take? How much more time are we looking at? So we wanted to show you this timeline here of the things that we have been working on and the things we will be working on as we go through our planning and environmental compliance process. So the RM Towel and the team have already completed, this is before I jumped on the project. There was a community meeting in 2019. Archaeological field work was began in February and it's expected to be completed in May. Cultural impact survey is ongoing. Biological survey also began in February, expected to be completed in May. And the draft preliminary engineering study is ongoing, and we're expecting that to be completed in May as well. And right now, the letter that you all received was the pre-environmental assessment consultation letter. And right now we are in the 30-day comment period up until April 23rd of this year. So this is the opportunity for the beneficiaries to comment on the environmental assessment. And then we're having our community meeting. So that's why the big yellow "We Are Here" sign. As we move forward, we are hoping and anticipating to have the draft environmental assessment presented to the Hawaiian Homes Commission at their July regular meeting. Our Hawaiian Homes Commission meetings have been virtual for the last year during COVID, much like this meeting. They are streamed live on YouTube at the department's website, dhhl.hawaii.gov/live. And all of the meetings going back to when we began are actually archived there on our YouTube page. So anytime you want to go in and take a look at some of the information that we've been presenting to the commission, it's always there and available for you. So we are expected to take the draft EA to the commission in July for information, and it'll be published and available for review for public comment in August, with another 30-day comment period for people to respond to. At the same time, the final preliminary engineering study will be completed, or is expected to be completed in August. And then we would like to come back to the community to do another virtual meeting in the month of October to give you a status update on some of the activities that have been completed from this meeting through to then. And then we anticipate the final environmental assessment to be submitted to the Hawaiian Homes Commission for their approval in December and published with the Office of Environmental, you catch me, OEQC, what does it mean?
Office of Environmental Quality Control.
Thank you.
Yes.
Published with the office in January 2022 with a 30-day challenge period, which is a usual time frame for a EA, or usual steps in an EA. Now, this is just one part of the process to give you a little bit of context of where we are in the total process of this conversation to getting you onto your lot. This is our production pipeline. So usually you don't get a lease until the end of all of this, but many of you received your leases years ago during the department's acceleration process. So you're already lessees. But in this time frame, we are in the blue box, planning and environmental compliance. This is where we are today. We are hoping to expedite some of the engineering and design work as we head into the infrastructure construction. But as you can see, we still have several more steps to take before we can get all of you onto your lots. And we wanted to show you this, this production pipeline to give you a little bit of context as it relates to the previous slide, where this is what we're working on right now in the environmental compliance portion to make sure that these lots are okay. And we've checked off all the boxes and completed all the steps from the cultural impact study, the archaeological inventory, and all of the engineering study work that needs to be done as part of the EA, so that we know we have a safe project to move forward to get our infrastructure construction put into place. So just to give you an idea of where we are in the entire process. Stuart, Andrew, do you guys have anything you guys need to add in relation to this slide?
Thank you for that. I just wanted to say that in terms of these processes, these are just general timeframes. The slide on the timeline can accelerate. It can also slow down depending on the comments that we receive, depending upon the studies that are prepared by our consultants, depending on what's found out in the field. And so we're hoping for best case scenarios, but we are also prepared to mitigate whatever comes before us. I wanted to mention that RM Powell was the original surveyor for the Nā'iwa ag lots, and so they have a lot of baseline information, which really lends to moving forward and actually not waiting for the EA to be completed. So we're hoping to do some of these activities concurrently to cut down on the time frame. And that's kind of a best case scenario. And then with infrastructure, of course, we will need the funding. But we do plan to keep moving forward and then continue to work with the legislature for the funding, construction funding.
Yeah, I do want to highlight what Stuart said with regard to this timeline. And there are variables with any construction project that could speed up or slow down a project. But as Stuart mentioned, we're going to try our best to expedite this as quickly as safely as possible. We know that all of you have been waiting for many years to get onto your lots. And, we definitely understand that. So we want to go as quickly as we can, as safely as we can to get all of this work completed. And that brings us basically to the end of our presentation today. And we're going to take this time to respond to any questions and inquiries. Aloha, Commissioner Helm.
Hey, aloha.
Thank you for joining us. Good to see you. Thank you for coming.
How are you, Cedric?
Good.
I have two questions. So when you're ready, I have some questions.
Why don't we start with Commissioner Helm? Let's go for it.
Thank you, Cedric. Aloha, everyone. Regarding the infrastructure, are you, Stuart, are you including MIS tie-in for that project as well, so that they have access for that MIS line as part of the infrastructure project?
Yep, that's an affirmative. That is part of the plan. The consultants still have to go through the process of all of the discussions with Department of Ag, and that is part of the preliminary engineering report. So we will have more to share in the coming months regarding that, but that is in fact part of our goal is to include both potable and non-potable MIS water.
So you're aware of that there is an existing line going through the east of that area. So
Yes.
I mean, maybe they'll find out later that they can tie in from there into the Nā'iwa Homestead. Okay, the other questions that I have is regarding these 58 lots that's in Nā'iwa. Do you have, maybe, I'm not sure if this is premature, but when you request funding from the legislature for the infrastructure, you have some idea of what you're talking about as far as the amount is concerned? That we are that department are going to be requesting for this?
Sure. Commissioner Helm, that's a great question. We have submitted to the legislature in the past two sessions our sufficient sums budget And Nā'iwa is on that budget for $9.5 million. You know, our sufficient sums budget is in the range of about 250 million to 350 million. That includes lot development as well as our repair maintenance programs.
Mhm.
So it is in there. It is something that the commission has approved, and so we continue to work with the legislature and work with the area representatives and senators. So they're going through the budget process right now. So I think it's like really critical for all of us to contact a representative, contact senator, anybody you know, especially those in the finance committee and ways and means, and get your voice heard now. So
Yeah.
others have done it, so I can see that, you know, this community can be very successful in helping to get the funding to the department.
So I'm sure the community will put something together to lobby as best as they can to our representatives as well as the alleged. But the other thing is that I'm concerned because these lots were issued back in '85 during the acceleration period. That's when I received my lot for Kalamaula. But I just hope that, as we go through the process, as we move forward through the commission, that we put Nā'iwa a high priority, because they've waited, they've got these lots, but they can't move forward. So I hope we would consider them a high priority when we get to that point. You know what I'm saying? When everything is, because I know everybody wants a piece of pie, but I think we've been very patient. So hopefully we can look forward to a good year in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hong. Any other questions from those on the screen or those who may not be on the screen?
I had a question.
ahead, Nicole.
So basically, I noticed that in a sufficient sums budget, it was earmarked at 9 mil. I didn't see the 9.5, but 9 million. And I know it already went through the House. I did call and speak to Representative Decoit, and I'm still waiting for Senator English to call me back. But so my question was, so you were saying that if it doesn't make it this session, it would be resubmitted in January. So if it, and I'm praying that it does, but if it doesn't make it this session, what was on the timeline can be done without that monies at this point?
I'm gonna put the slides back up, Stuart. 1 second. So the current funding will take us all through this. Yes, Stuart?
Yes, it'll take us through the environmental assessment process. It will also take us through the engineering design process, where we talked about putting pen to paper, getting all of the construction plans and the specifications, all of that detailed out, plans approved by the county and other state agencies. And so that's where the 1.5 will take us to. So we do need 9.5 million from the legislature, and that's the bottom line to be able to engage in a contract for the construction work.
So question, worst case scenario that we don't get the money on this year's budget and it's resubmitted in January, how long would that take for the monies to come through to start the infrastructure and construction?
Good question. So when the legislature appropriates the money, like let's say if it's this session 2021, it becomes available July 1 of 2021, and then it remains available for 3 years. We are in the first year of the biennium, and so what is allowed for departments to encumber the money in a contract is in the first year of the biennium, you have 3 years. In the second year of the biennium, you have 2 years. So money is appropriated this biennium. And I know I'm going into a lot of maybe some detail that maybe is difficult to understand, but basically money would be available through June 30th of 2024. Okay. So what does that mean in terms of Nā'iwa? So we will, after this year's completion of the final environmental assessment, then we will concurrently be going into the design process, which will be about a year to year and a half. Okay, and at which point we would then put the project out to bid. And that process takes about 6 months to bid the project, to contract, and to certify the funding. And then we would start construction. So getting the money this session is great. Getting the funding next session is still okay, because we would be probably just about the time when we would be getting into bidding in the latter part of 2022.
So if you were to give a best case scenario and a worst case scenario timeline, what would you say would get us to the infrastructure construction stage? Like, if we get the money this session versus if we get the money the next session, what would be the
It's always better to
look at
have
the worst
the bird in
scenario?
the hand, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, but if we don't, then we really will need it. No ifs, ands, or buts in fiscal year, the next fiscal year, which would be fiscal year 23. Yeah, so next session laws 2022 is when we need the legislature to appropriate the funding.
Okay.
So, you know, with the federal government, I mean, we're still waiting to see what is included in the infrastructure package for the state of Hawaii. We are putting in, you know, to our Hawaii contingent the need for funding for Hawaiian homelands, and I believe the sufficient sums package was also introduced to the Hawaii contingent.
It was. So they were our federal delegation was provided the sufficient sums budget, which was inclusive of all of our projects, whether they were lot development or repair and maintenance projects to existing homestead areas. We've provided that in hopes of trying to secure as much as we can from this potential infrastructure bill going through the US Congress.
And one more question. I noticed that you were mentioning about the like getting approval in that comment section regarding county taking responsibility of the road. The county would take responsibility of a gravel road?
Mhm.
The county would take responsibility of a road that is built to county standard. And that is what our ultimate plan is. I think we're looking at different options, but we understand the safety issue there, and that when I looked at the original subdivision map, there are indication for like streams, and there's the gully there. So part of the engineering report will look at drainage, will look at the soils, and we need to be about those conditions, not only for the roadways, but for things like individual wastewater systems, which is would be lessee's responsibility. Also, if there are lessees wanting to build homes, so the foundation requirements are also important to be aware of, so that when you do build your hale and other improvements, that you're on solid ground. And I don't believe that there wouldn't be that case, but we just got to be sure. Yeah.
I get
So-
one question.
Yes, Lloyd, go ahead.
Yes, I know this is regarding the road, since we on that subject right now. Back there is if it's gonna be gravel road is only like one step higher than what it is now. So that road right now, if it rains 2 days straight, I have a 4-wheel drive Jeep. I cannot, I spin out every time just getting out there. So if you guys kind of thinking about safety, if an ambulance get back there, that ambulance not gonna get to me.
Yeah.
As far as one safety road down passage.
Yeah.
So gravel would work on dry days, but when it comes to the rainy seasons, that road not going to last long. Cause it's on like a little slight hill too, yeah. So it's not flat ground.
Right.
So you get hill and then flatten out, and then you get hill again. So as far as gravel, it's good for certain areas, but I think back there, 50-50 would be on safety.
Understood.
What? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. But Lloyd, did you have any more to add on before we go back to Liko?
Okay, and I get one more question. So being back there, back on Nā'iwa, so like some areas would have drinkable portable water, yeah, water lines. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. So if certain areas already have lines, if there's any maybe extra money in that area, could we use it on another area, really regarding the roads, or the in a different department that is already on the plan?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is, if there is extra funding, could it be redistributed throughout the infrastructure project? If we have a little bit of leftover over here, can we use it for a better road or something like that? Is that kind of what you're saying? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's going toward the either the electricity, the water, the road. So that
Yeah,
we still have that amount to spend. Yeah, I mean to utilize it.
Yeah, I think definitely what I want to share on this meeting with everyone is this is a group effort. We're, you know, the department doesn't want to travel along this road without the lessees. And that's just why we're having this meeting, which is why we want to come back and have another meeting on October when we get into the actual having the design and what the infrastructure is going to be like. There will likely be another community meeting to make sure that if there are changes along the way, if there's extra money, whatever information we have as a department that we can share with you as a lessee so that you're more informed about the project, we want to be able to do that, especially as things change or situations improve so that you, one, your thoughts on the project are included, and two, we're relating to you where we're at. So Lloyd, if there is, you know, couple extra bucks here that we can reallocate into improving a different part of the infrastructure, you know, I think that we'll be able to talk about that. And I also want to share that these meetings aren't always going to be good news. I just want to be sure that you guys know that these meetings, what they're going to be is they're going to be transparent, and they're going to be open, and they're going to be informative. And sometimes there's going to be things that we may share with you that ain't the best news, but sometimes there will be good news. But I want everyone on the call to know that we are just going to want to be as transparent as possible to let you know where we are in the process in getting you onto your lot as quickly as we can.
Okay.
Yeah. Kirk, did you have a question? And then Liko will come back to you after.
Okay, thank you, Cedric. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Cedric, my question is, I call them in, but I don't know if you guys got them, but I will repeat them again. Number one question was, will there be any financial assistance for building the houses on our homestead lots when we get to that point?
Financial assistance on a homestead lot when you get to building one. Do you guys have any information on that, or is that something I gotta go check with OCH on?
Well, like any other beneficiary that's wanting to build, we do request that lessees go out and get financing on the outside. Our loan funds are limited to those that are not able to secure a loan financing. On Molokai, there's more options because it's a rural area. So rural development might be a source of financing for constructions on Molokai. Veterans have access to VA loans. But as far as department loans, again, because our funds are limited, we do request that lessees go out to financial institutions outside of the department first. If you are denied for some reason, you can come to the department and apply. It doesn't guarantee you a loan will be extended to you just because you're denied on the outside. There'll still be that underwriting process to determine whether you are qualified or not.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
And again, just a reminder, because it's an agricultural lot, the lessees are not required to construct on the Nā'iwa lots. But again, that doesn't prevent you from building, however, if you do want to construct a home on the property. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you. I give another one. You know, in the map, as I saw in the beginning, the red area indicated for 58 lots of Nā'iwa. I know I couldn't see any names, but I wanted to know that inside my lot, everybody turned away from my road, and my road is a road. So I like to know if you guys can give us a map so that we can see where our names are and how the road, you know, the gravel, or I tell you, I vouch for Brother Lloyd, man, and Nico know, inside there when rain, you know, you gotta have 4-wheel drive. And if you know more, you might as well say goodbye and wait till dry and then come back in, and that might take a few days. But the road gravel, I used to work for the state 31 years. I retired on highways. I know a little bit about the road and how to shape them and form them. And I know we got to get some flow for water, for especially with culverts running, on the roadway. So the gravel road we use the kind of coplain, yeah. And I see the county put them down. I don't know, coplain tends to run away. The oil can hold a road better, and asphalt has always been, the answer. But I know with funding and stuff that we're asking for, beggars can't be choosy pickers. So we gotta be thankful for the little that we can be given. So with just that statement said, gravel okay, but I like Lloyd, really gonna pour down with the rain inside there. We're gonna be kind
Yeah.
of swimming around.
Yeah.
And we know it. We've been in there when it rains.
Yeah.
So that was my one question. And the last of all the question was if we can look at, and there's a map that we can see where the road gonna go to our areas, Cedric, if that could be possible.
Yeah, I think we're a little ways away from creating the map, but as we go through this process and get the subdivision finalized, and Stuart, correct me if I'm wrong here. Once that process happens, we should be able to follow back up with something that is a little bit more defined.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and then is that correct, Stuart?
Cedric.
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. So back in 1985, you all signed lot selection map, yeah. I think I was there too with you. I look a little bit different now, kind of like, but
Yeah, I hear you.
yeah. So we'll go research what we have. What we try to do is to maintain as much of the configuration as possible. But if there are situations like drainage where we may have to adjust the configuration of the lot or the size, or based on subdivision code, we're gonna have to do that. But we'll keep you informed as far as what that is. And like Cedric said, that we're very preliminary yet. The consultants still need to do additional topographic studies and drainage studies and things like this to, just ensure that the subdivision is safe. That's safety is number one. So let us, proceed down that pathway, work with the consultants, and the consultants are online too. So they're hearing all of this, what your concerns are, and so it's good for them to be ma'a to your manao.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Kirk. Liko, we can go back to you if you have another question, and then I'd like to give an opportunity to those who may not have their cameras on.
Okay. I just wanted to make one comment first before my last question. The reason why we went with gravel roads was because the 9 million they're asking to even do the completion of the subdivision was the amount just for the road. So to even get the subdivision moving forward, we had to go with gravel. And that is the reason why, we were working towards gravel road instead of asphalt, because the asphalt was going to cost like 9 million or 10 million from the last budget that they had back in 2005. And so that was one of the reasons why we went that direction. So that was that with that situation with the road. And then my question is, Pala'au, I cannot remember which one is called Pala'au Avenue, Pala'au Road, but where the MIS water comes up. Is that supposedly the main entry into Nā'iwa subdivision? because like right now, mostly everybody is using the one next to my lot, because that one is more drivable, whereas the one that looks like it's supposed to be the entry, which is farther down, about 3 entries over, but like there's like overgrown with trees and stuff, so it's hard for the lessees, you know, to be able to get to the back through that side. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to know what was the design as far as the in and out of the subdivision.
That's across the Humane Society, yeah.
Yes.
Stuart has a big map on the table.
Yeah, I think that Pala'au Avenue is that's off Mauna Loa Highway, which is the main access to part of the subdivision, but there is a portion of the lots which will be accessed through across from the airport. Because there's a
Nico, you're on mute.
large
That's going-
gulch between.
That's going straight across the gouge.
No.
Not-
It would be a second access point across from the highway, which is on the west side of the subdivision.
I think that's where Poi Poi stayed, that side.
Yeah, that's, you gotta cross on
Yeah.
gouge. So a lot of times that gouge is
Yes.
all soaked too.
MCC, but just before MCC, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that
As you're going around the corner by the airport.
Yes.
if it's-
yeah, by Poi them.
Yeah.
So Jack,
But
what we
so
can do is,
Don't that gouge would have
I can-
another access road?
Yeah, but I think what I'm hearing from the call is there's a desire to kind of see what the map's gonna look like. And so Stuart, I think we might be able to get some of that up onto the landing page for this project.
certainly,
And just
yeah,
know-
we'll do that.
And just know that as we go through the process and we get into the actual design, you know, we'll be able to firm up what the subdivisions might look like.
Okay.
Thank you. I wanted to give an opportunity to any of the participants who may just be calling in by phone, and if there's any questions, you know, please just say your name and say your question.
Now's the time, you guys.
Okay. Let me just. Go ahead. Kamakani.
Okay. Just to clarify, my service kind of was in and out, but if everything goes as planned, we get the funding, everything, no unforeseen obstacles in the process. I just was I saw the colorful, you know, that
Kamakani, we lost you there right at the end of the. Oh, did we lose him from the call? Shucks. Yeah, we lost him on the call. Hopefully he'll dial back in. It seemed like he had a question on the production pipelines. Hopefully he can dial back in and we can catch his question. Any others who may be on the line right now that would like our staff to address any questions you may have? Oh wait, Kamakani is back. Let me see if he's able to hear us. Aloha, Kamakani, are you there? Okay, we'll circle back to him afterwards. Any other questions at this time? What I'm also going to do here is I'm gonna give you guys an email. I'm gonna put my email address up on the screen, and I'll drop it into the chat. So if there are questions along the way, you know, our office is happy to find the answer. We may not have the answer, but we will always look into it and see if we can get that for you folks. So let me just, I'm gonna put this into the chat, and then I will share it for everyone to view. And then if you're just on the phone, my email address is Cedric, CEDRIC, period, R, period, Duarte, DUARTE, at hawaii.gov. And I'm gonna put it right here as well on the screen.
Yeah.
So feel free to email me along the way. If you want information, or if you are just have questions that you may not have thought of right now, just please email, and let's get you that information. And just above my email address, in the chat also, and here on the screen, is the landing page where we will populate information about this Nā'iwa project, where we will have a video of tonight's meeting, as well as the presentation materials. And Stuart will work together. I'll work together with Stuart's team. We'll get a map on board as well. Any comments at all from other DHHL staff at this time? That anybody that's not got their camera on that needs to contribute anything?
Yeah, I just want to say something about going back to the loan question. You know, constructing a home is a big endeavor. And right now it's not too early to prepare for qualifying for a loan. If you've got debts, you've got loan obligations that you need to make payments on, I would suggest that you, again, make payments on time. Late payments will impact your credit report. Also, be selective, or try not to take on any more loans than you already have unless you need to. And again, save as much as you can. I know we're in the pandemic, jobs are hard, but again, in preparation for qualifying for a loan, you're gonna need possibly expense or monies to pay for expenses with regards to down payment, appraisal reports, etc., credit report. So it's never too early to prepare yourselves to qualify for the loan, you know, three years down the road.
Thank you, Juan. Alonzo, you're joining us on camera just now. I don't know if you were on earlier, but did you have a question? We're in the Q&A part right now. Unmute. There you go.
Hi.
Hi,
Aloha.
aloha.
My name is Alana. I'm a designated successor for my grandma Dorothy Kong. She's one of the lessees passed. We were there, like one of the first ones that lived there from back in like 2001. I had a question about, you know, as far as environmental assessment, what are you folks like assessing, like, in, you know what I mean? Because we've been there for like long time, and I know we did like makeshift home and, you know, like cesspool. So like how, and I know she has like a lot of cars in there, and I want to clean that area up. Is there like a time frame, like if any, like be complying with environmental assessment?
Andrew, could you tackle sort of what the purpose of an EA is?
So the basic purpose of the EA is to make sure that any actions taken by a government agency like DHHL does not have a significant impact on the surrounding environment. So your question about whether or not we're actually going to go and look and assess the abandoned vehicles on a particular property, that's not really the focus of the environmental assessment. What the environmental assessment will look at is, we said we're going to be providing water to the lots. What impact will that have on the environment? We also said that we want to improve the drainage so that we don't unintentionally flood our lessees as well as the surrounding area. So those are the types of impacts, the larger impacts that we're going to be assessing. In addition, earlier Cedric had mentioned that our consultants have already conducted field studies related to archaeology and botanical studies. So we look at whether or not there's any endangered species, which we believe that there are none on the property. We also want to make sure that there are no sensitive cultural resources in the vicinity of the project area. We want to be respectful of those types of resources. So we go out and do the field studies ahead of time to make sure that we try our best to identify any of those types of sensitive resources. So those are the types of impacts that we will be trying to assess whether or not this project would have a significant impact. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I currently don't live there, but I want to, be able to make a place there that my grandma, she didn't get to, she passed away. She didn't get to build her home there. I'm still learning too, and I was just curious about that because I want to be able to go into this, step into the scene, knowing from the beginning what and what. So I don't know. I just wanted to just ask that.
No, this is the time and this is the place to ask that question. And so right now we're early in the process, and if you in the chat window, I don't know if you're able to get there, but on our website we're gonna have dhhl.hawaii.gov/PO/Molokai that will have information about this project and where we are in environmental compliance. So to have a recording of this meeting and the presentation materials. But as it relates to your specific lot, we're not assessing your lot. We're just assessing our project right now at this time. So you don't got to worry about the lot per se. However, if you have, and I hope Cindy, I hope this is okay. If she has specific questions about her lot, can she call the Molokai office? Yeah. So if you have specific questions about the vehicles or anything like that with regard to your lot and your lease, please reach out to our Molokai district office. Our staff Cindy is on the line right now, and you can just give them a call.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Kamakani, you are back on the line. Are you able to hear us? And did you wanna try to repeat your question?
I was just reading on instead in the letter, it said construction will start in 22 and from the start of construction 18 to 24 months estimate time. That's if everything goes until
I'm gonna take a guess that the question is more about time frame and where best case, worst case scenario. I think Stuart might have spoken to that a little earlier. Stuart, do you remember what you mentioned as far as best case scenario, worst case scenario on time frames?
Sure. So we are in the environmental assessment process. We expect to complete it by end of this year to have the final EA filed at the Office of Environmental Quality Control. And then we'll be overlapping the design process. And so that process will take approximately a year to year and a half, after which time we would then start the bidding process for construction, which takes about 6 months. And then the construction would take approximately 2 years to complete. So we're talking about if I added up correctly, about a 3.5 to 4 year process after starting in the calendar 22.
Thank you, Stuart. Let's see. Kamakane, I hope that answered your question. We had a little trouble hearing you there. We are getting a little bit past 7 o'clock right now, but I do want to make sure that we respond to any other questions that any of you folks may have.
You know, the electrical power coming into our area, is it going to be overhead or underground?
It would be overhead.
Overhead. Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other sort of last minute questions here, gang? I do want to take this opportunity with all of you to invite you. You should be receiving a postcard in the mail, probably by the weekend, if not by Monday. I would like to invite you to our first community meeting that we'll be holding virtually as part of the usual Hawaiian Homes Commission meeting. This will be on Monday, April 19th at 6, it's either 6 or 6:30. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but the Zoom information will be on our website, and right on the homepage of our website, you'll see the Hawaiian Homes Commission meeting, and you click there and the Zoom information will be listed online, and you'll receive a postcard in the mail sort of reminding you and inviting you to the meeting. In COVID, usually in the non-COVID times, we would be on the island with you folks and having a nice meal and enjoying the open air of Kulanaoiwi together. But you know, we can't do that. But we really have a lot of projects happening on the island of Molokai, so we really thought it was we couldn't wait any longer. We kept kind of holding out in hopes that travel would loosen up and we'd be able to have an opportunity to come back to the island. But I think just where we're at right now, the virtual setting is the very best we can do. And we just want to try to get some of this information out to the community because, like I said, we have a lot going on. So I'd like to invite all of you to participate in that meeting. That'll be Monday evening, the 19th, I think it's 6:30. And like I said, you'll be getting a postcard in the mail. And one other plug, you should be receiving the fiscal 2020 annual report in your mailboxes. We got permission to mail a copy to every applicant and lessee on the list. It's a really robust annual report and it covers all of the activities for fiscal year of 2020. And you'll see some of the things that we talked about tonight with the production pipeline and sort of how different projects travel through the process to going from raw land to a homestead. So please be on the lookout for those things in your mailbox. And if you have any questions, please email, call, talk to our Molokai office, call our main line. We're here. So please reach out if you have questions. We want to make sure that we provide you answers. We're really early. I'm really excited because we're early in the process. So we'll be able to have this conversation throughout the course of getting these lots ready for homesteading. Okay.
Small question. What is your
okay.
title,
Yep.
Cedric? What's your title?
My title?
Yes.
They call me the Information and Community Relations Officer. I don't know why. That's the name of the door.
Okay.
His unofficial title is awesome.
Yeah.
Great job, Cedric.
Okay. So with that, please enjoy your evening. We thank you so much
Cedric.
again for joining us.
Cedric,
Yes,
if I
Juan.
may, yeah, I'm
Yes,
gonna
yes,
take
yes.
it. I'm gonna take advantage of this opportunity to remind the lessees. It's very important, if you haven't already, to contact the Molokai office to file a designation of successor.
Mm.
Again, the designation is very, very important. Again, we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow or next week. So it's vital that your entitlement to the lease is assuredly passed on to the generations to follow. And the only way to do that, to make certain that it goes to someone that is of your selection, is to file a designation. Cindy, with our Molokai office, would be more than willing to assist you in that regard. So I would suggest that you contact the Molokai office and make an appointment. If you do have one, you have the right to update it. You can amend or change your designation if you already filed. But more importantly, if you haven't filed one, it's vital that you do. Yeah, it's important that you do. Mahalo.
Thank you, Juan. And I'm just gonna tag on to that. Not only make the designation, please, please, please have the conversation with your ohana. Talk to them. Let them know what your wishes were so that the department staff doesn't have to. That those, it's an important thing to really just have the conversation so that they know exactly which direction you wanted everything to go. Okay. Website in the chat, email in the chat. Website will also have presentation materials and the video. I look forward to speaking with you guys often throughout this next few years as we finally, complete Stewart's project from the 80s. We'll get the accelerated lots, some infrastructure, and get you folks homestead lots that have been developed. Okay. Thank you once again. We'll stay on the line, Andrew, like usual, and then we'll thank everybody for joining us, and enjoy your evening.